Welcome to The Good Pod, where today we're talking The Good Wife, Season 1, Episode 4, Fixed. I am one of your hosts, Jason Reed. With me, as always, my co-host, Marissa Garza, who, when I point to her in this podcast, is the only time she'll be allowed to speak. Any other time, she'll be silenced. If she does speak when I don't point to her, she will have to contribute to the Jason Reed New Car Fund. Marissa, I'm going to go ahead and point to you. How's it going? How's everything in your life? I'll just keep my hand pointed like that. The whole podcast. You can keep talking. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Very court heavy. Listen, guys. Episode 4. We're trudging along. I'm really enjoying myself doing this Good Wife rewatch. A lot of things I didn't remember that are coming to mind. I'm like, oh my god, this thing, and in this way they did it. All the actors are going to meet. But listen, if you want to keep us going in this journey, letting us know how well you're enjoying the podcast, a lot of different ways you can do that. Depending on what you're listening to us on. If you're listening to us on an Apple Podcast or Spotify, you can definitely rate the podcast on both those platforms. On Apple Podcasts, you can actually leave us a written review. We would really love to get shout outs from you guys so we can read them on the podcast. We'd really enjoy that. It's a great way to show you love the podcast, and for the Apple Podcast bosses to put our podcast in front of other people so that they can see the wonderful podcast you're listening to right now. Well, at some point, it's got to be all just AI over there now. Like I think if you walk into Apple, if you walk into Apple offices, there's no one left. They're just computers. There's just someone there just to make sure everything's plugged in. I think that's just where we're going. If you want to email us with any questions, comments, feedbacks, you can also email us at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe. No matter where you are, if you're watching us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, you can always subscribe and follow our podcast so you can be the first to know when our new episodes drop. Listen, this week's sponsor, hey, the Hungry Kitten. All right, I'm going to just read what they gave us here. Need a private area for anniversary dinners, work events, or bribery strategy meetings? The Hungry Kitten is the place for you. Meow. I added them, yeah. They didn't put that on the card. I added, yeah. Hungry Kitten. Seems like a very popular restaurant. Both sides of the case dine there. The victims, the lawyers on the other side, everyone dines there. It's very popular. Kalinda can draw the logo from memory. Like very popular place, obviously. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, let's dive into the case of the week, Marissa. Wow, that's quite an oversight on the FDA's part. I listen. I did reach out to Zenapril, and they did not want to sponsor the podcast. I think for good reasons. I don't think this was a very good advertisement of their product. Was it the name of the Catholic schoolgirl on SNL, like Sister Mary Catherine? it's almost a different The Good Wife case than what Alicia goes through. Like, it's the good wife because she's sticking by her man in times of health and of illness. So I think that's maybe part of what draws Alicia to her. Like, oh, I wish I don't know if she wishes she was in that position, but she can see the love is there between these two, and what she's willing to stick by her man with. And she's like, oh, I wish Peter was paralyzed. I wish that was Peter's big problem. Mhm. I just love she asked for, like, something she asked for something in the boxes, and you could tell, like, everyone behind Diane is, like, a junior associate trying to get in good Diane, because everyone is just falling over themselves trying to find whatever document that Diane has asked for. Like, Carrie is reaching over Alicia to, like, grab a box that's in front of her, like, "This is mine," and then you just see people running over. Meanwhile, Alicia, she's just cool, calm, she's like, "Let me just grab this stuff in this box here," and then, "Oh, what do I find?" Mhm. Listen, nice drawing ability. I liked like Kalinda being able to finish the logo. It's like, oh, she got some nice penmanship. She knows how to draw a little bit. I do wonder if that was actually Archie Punjabi's like hands doing it, or if they had like stunt hands drawing the finished product. I would have had like a couple takes of like, okay, Archie, we're just gonna have you finish out the drawing. Like, Archie, like that doesn't look anything like the Hungry Kid logo. Or we're gonna have to get stunt hands in here to do the drawings. Come on, Archie. Yeah, for real. I had like 12 takes trying to do this stupid logo. Archie, you think that looks like a cat? Come on. Mm-mm. Yeah, he's definitely that guy. He's definitely that vibe. I did, as soon as we walk in and we see McClune there, hamming it up, I said, McLuhan definitely didn't do this. I feel like this is too easy. So something else is definitely up here, because that would just been like we were like, oh, definitely he's definitely the one that did it now because we see him there. Like, I think that would have been too easy this early in the episode to be like fingering our main suspect as the person. I was like, nope, something else gonna go down here. Now, of course, I didn't remember what the final twist was in this case. I was like, at that point, I definitely knew. I was like, nope, stop McLuhan. Something else going on here. Yeah. I mean, when you say groundbreaking, is that because it's so late into the game that we get opening credits? Is that why you're saying the groundbreaking? I mean, it's nothing as fantastic as the good fights, opening credits. Um, I mean, it's to me, it's like, when we see it's like, oh, we haven't done the credits yet. It's what, 10 minutes in the episode, we're finally getting the opening credits. So I mean, nothing to note for me other than how long it takes to get to the opening credits. That's memorable. Nothing special. It was like like just see Alicia's face. Like, yeah, it's nothing big for me. The hungry The Hungry Kitten. Marissa, you cannot mess up the sponsor's name, Marissa. They're gonna withdraw their check. It's the Hungry Kitten. Sorry, April the Hungry Kitten. We will make sure we get that edited right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I love Alicia finding her voice, being able to speak up, being like, "Nah, Carrie's a punk. Put me put me on this instead." And Diane doesn't fight it at all. She's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead. Like, well, whatever." Busy. I think a lot. No, I was gonna say Diane thinks of this as busy work, but I think it's actually pretty important, and I think it's good that Diane is at this point trusting in Alicia to do the job right, and not automatically giving it to her pet Carrie. Mhm, mhm, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Yeah. Mhm. Right. I mean, I don't believe these things, but a lot of people do, and I have to just be aware of what other people believe. It's definitely not me that thinks this, silly goose. I did like Kalinda's defensiveness, where she's talking about, I forgot what she was talking about, the attribute she was giving to Tobler. She's like, "Oh, unlike Asians and Mexicans, you mean?" And that's when the lady gets offended of like, "Oh, you pay me to deal in racial stereotypes." Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, he's one of the good ones. I just why I shouldn't say he's actually one of the good ones. And I loved Kalinda doing her investigation as she knocks on the door. She's like, "Oh my gosh, hi, how are you? I'm just thinking of buying a home in the neighborhood. We're just wondering if you had any information about the neighbors." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so funny about how she changed up her demeanor and her attitude. Like that's what makes her a good investigator. That she can be a chameleon whenever she needs to be and be this upbeat, happy person where I, most of the time she's very like dry and dry sense of humor. Mhm. She'd do well. Maybe star alongside Idris Elba at some point. Maybe she get to those heights. McClune McClune definitely strikes me. He strikes me definitely as someone that doesn't pay any mind to quote unquote the help. But yeah, they were pretty convinced that it was juror number two, like right off the bat. And I liked the strategy they used to try and figure out if it was juror number two. They're like, all right, we're not going to like outright ask for the juror to be dismissed. We're going to kind of use this as a trap to see if McClune is going to if he would mind the juror being put off or if he doesn't care, and that'll tell us what his level of culpability is in this bribery scheme. Mhm. Yeah, and I mean it's so interesting because this in a way, Lockhart, Gardner, and Stern are really overthinking things and outthinking themselves because what we'll find out later is what really happens is way off from what they think is happening. Because at this point, like, it was a trap. McLean was trying to get us to get juror number two kicked off because the alternate is a Republican. So this is McLuhan's whole big plan to get us to get rid of the juror. Like in reality, it was none of that. Like it wasn't even a part of any McLuhan strategy at all. Well, yeah, Clinton was like, well, he told his wife that he had put on a second mortgage on his house to pay her all this alimony, but spoiler alert, he doesn't have a house. So where else would he have gotten that money? My question is, why gotta be the black guy is taking the bribes? Huh? Huh? We talked about the diversity. We like, why? What's up? Why? 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 Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. Hmm. That guy looked like a real idiot when he was like, because he was just arguing up there on the stand before this of like, I don't even know why this guy's taking it from my grade. It's not even for that. And then and I just love Diane coming like with the clap back of like, oh yeah, yeah. Well, how about this? You wanted to advertise this for migraines in Europe, so what up, bro? And he's like, oh, he's just like, oh, whose signature is that on the form saying you wanted to advertise this migraine? He's like, he didn't even have to look at it. He's like, yeah, it's mine. It's my signature. but but I'm like, so but this guy's doctor prescribed this. It's not an over the counter drug. This guy's doctor prescribed it to him. And I think McLuhan mentions in the early part of the case, he's like, you're not going after your doctor for this pain and damages. You're going after the pharmaceutical company. So it's like that argument is even that good. Like, why is he taking it for migraines? Because his doctor told him to. Mhm. Right. Well, right. It's our Chicago minute, folks. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of game playing basis with that. It's like this isn't law. This is nonsense, like cloak and dagger stuff. We did get some feedback from one of our listeners, Adam Kellogg, who, I Adam is my guy because he keeps writing into the podcast. I love his takes. He does talk about the fact that how like why is Tobler the one that is chosen to get this bribe? What makes whoever bribing him think that he is the one to turn the tide in the favor. The only thing I can think of is that he is the foreman, so maybe people will take his opinion more highly than anyone else's in the jury box. I don't know. It does seem weird to bribe one person with so much money to be like, all right, you're in charge of turning the tide in our favor. When we find out what's going on. Mhm. Or maybe how smart Tobler was, and see he was. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money to be like, hey, try and sway these other jurors' opinion. That's a tall task. Like, does he get to keep the money even if even if he doesn't get the ruling that these people that are paying him want? Like, well, I want to know what the stipulations are in this whole like because $35,000 is nothing to sneeze at. It's like that's a lot of money. Like, what if I don't? What if I'm not able to get the people on my side? Will I still get the money? That'd be my first question. Like, all right, so you want me to do one thing. What if that doesn't happen? Like, do I get to keep the money or what? Like, do I got to pay half it back? Like, that's what I want to know. Yeah, like who you hooked up with? Who are you connected to? Those are all my questions. Like, what strings are attached to this money here? Because I don't know if I am persuasive enough to get 11 other people. If their opinion is opposite of me, I don't know if I am persuasive enough to get people to switch to my side. I mean, I feel like in a jury you have to be unanimous, do you not? Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, but you know what I would do? I would sit back and look at the people, and be like, who does it look like is not on my side? And that's the people like when the lawyers argue something that's not in my favor, like are they not in their head? Like that's who I'm looking at shooting this bribe to. I need the people on my side. So I may want to sprinkle the money around to like a few different jurors. Yeah. Mhm. I mean, like you said, I mean, look, I think I've actually never been on jury duty, and I actually really want to do jury duty. I feel like it would be fun for some reason. I feel like it's probably not as fun as I think it would be. I'd probably get put on some really boring case and like just like a financial crime that I'm just so bored with. But I want to do jury duty. Like if anyone's listening out there that decides Maryland jury duty, I'm here. Use me. I want to be put in a jury duty case. But anyway, yeah, I've never been in a thing, but the foreman, collects the votes, I think, and does all this. But I think, like you said, they may have gotten into some like insight about his education, about how like smart he is, or whatever. So maybe they figured he was the one that would be able to speak eloquently enough to persuade people to go to their side. This was so fun because of like the things that come out of this. It does feel like kindergartners like snitching on each other or tattletaling. And he's like, "Oh, listen, all y'all need to shut up." He's like, I don't want McLuhan silence or Lockhart silence. I just want silence. I want everyone to be quiet until I point at you." And McLuhan, who's just like the biggest like d bag around, suffers the consequences of this a little bit. I'm like, Kalinda, I thought you were like A1 investigator. You get made by some rando, by some civilian Tobler. Like, I thought you were like, he probably turned around and saw Kalinda snapping her camera at him in the car. He's like, what the hell is this, Kalinda? I thought you were supposed to be more stealthy than this. What's up, bro? Right. Dang. Goodness. How dare you? I'm offended. Like, meanwhile, we heard earlier that McCoon has been accused of doing this type of crap in the past before, so we know that McCoon is not above this at all. Anyway, I I was kind of surprised that he wasn't more like taken aback by the fact that there may be some jury tamper going on. You saw this man get an envelope of what we're all assuming is cash, and you're not more concerned about it. You're just like, we'll figure it out on appeal. I'm like, okay, like you're not more concerned with this. Okay, cool. He just wanted to get it out of his hair. That's all he wanted at that point. I was like, dude, come on, for sure, yeah. And I mean, what like, bruh, I need to be a lawyer because he threw 80. He said, Diane, you gotta pay $80,000. She's just like, yeah, fair. And he goes, McLuhan, you get 10,000. He's like, all right, yeah, that's cool. You just gotta spare 10 grand, 80 grand. Just and then we like earlier this episode, we heard how much jury consultant gets paid $100,000 for 3 months of work. So sign me up. I'm in the wrong industry. I'm in the wrong job. I need to figure out how to get these other jobs out here that are paying this much money. I mean, listen, more tests, like that sounds like a lot of schoolwork, a lot of hassle. Maybe I'll just stick with my low rent job. You know too much about the legal system nowadays. Mhm. coulda, but that it was not a certainty, and the good wife made sure that it was a certainty. She's like, "No, I want to make sure this is gonna go into my favor." And when I tell you my jaw dropped when it was the wife, I was like, "Oh, no." I was like, "Get out of here." I was shocked. I was legit shocked. Listen, good for her. She did what she had to do to get her man paid and to get her, get her future, settled and made sure that she was good. So good on. I don't even know. Do we get this woman's name? Good good on the good wife for getting for getting the funds that was needed and did whatever it took, whatever was necessary. And according to this show, it's extremely easy to bribe a jury. I don't know why more people don't do it. Like, I don't know if you really did. I'm not sure you did. So I'm glad I took precautions to make sure that we got the verdict that that we wanted. If I was Alicia or if I was anyone else on the Stern Lockhart Gardner side, I'd be pissed because at that point I don't really know if I really won that case. Like I'm just not I'm not positive that I won. I'm sure Alicia is feeling that. I was like, did we really win, or is it like did we win because of the bribe? I'm not sure. Yeah. But that kind of betrays a little bit our like this is what I thought when this moment came up. Like when Diana is basically like, oh, you silly goose. Like that's not how we do things here. Like if the law works in our favor, we're gonna keep it. Like so we don't need to snitch on ourselves here. Although I was willing to snitch on the other side when I thought they were doing something really wrong by bribing a juror. But now that I figured out that it's our side, I'm good. But in this moment, I was just like, okay, Diane's kind of talking to Alicia as if she is a like Carrie level lawyer. Like she has a like that like Alicia hasn't practiced law before. I'm sure Alicia like this really got my mind going. I was like, okay, I wonder if maybe for the next good universe spinoff. Kings, I know you listen to the podcast, so hear me when I say this. I'm giving you this is a pitch idea. If it happens, I want me and Marissa to get an executive producer credit. I do want a like they did this with Sex in the City a little bit. Like I want a prequel for Alicia to see what her starting out times as a lawyer was like and to see her practice law. Oh, snap. One, College Years with Will. Season 2, Time Jump. She's practicing law. She meets. I want to see her meet. I want to listen. Let's retcon this thing, right? Let's get us a show where Will and Peter are fighting for Alicia's affections in the early years, and we know she ends up choosing Peter, but we just want to see that journey and how that is because, like, bring it back to the present. Diane is talking to Alicia like, "Oh, silly little girl, you don't know how law really works." But Alicia was a practicing lawyer for a minute before she became, a governor's wife. So I didn't appreciate the way that Diane was kind of speaking to Alicia, but also in the way the show portrayed it, Alicia did seem like this kind of innocent lamb that didn't know this side of the law. Yeah, yeah. She had a lot of innocence, so I was like, and Diane just was just kind of like, "Oh, you sweet thing. That's not how this works." Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. I mean, I still think there's a little bit of that Diane all the way through the Good Wife. I don't feel like I don't feel like the Good Fight Diane would be like, "You're right. We gotta we gotta overturn this injustice right now. We gotta overturn our own good verdict and snitch on our client." I don't think she would do that. I do think she would think a little more about it. Where this Diane was just like, no, we're good. We won. We're taking our win," which makes it her thing. Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think I just think in this instance, how Alicia is portrayed is like it's like, oh, because I was thinking like, oh, this is the first time Alicia's really seeing the dark side of of Lockhart, yeah, of Lockhart, Gardner, and Stern. This is the first time she's really, so far as we've seen through 4 episodes, this is kind of her first view into the dark side of her colleagues, of where we're not going to turn in our client for bribing someone because we won. I was like, oh, this is the first time that Alicia's really getting a look into the. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, probably not. Like, this probably isn't the first time Alicia's come up against some type of moral or ethical quandary while she practiced law. Yeah, for sure. That was just what was like annoying me a little bit. I was just like, that doesn't really ring true to me as what I think Alicia probably would have experienced in the past. Mhm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I did say governor's wife earlier. My bad. State attorney's wife. Yeah, same thing. But yeah, I do think, like I said, she has been in this world for a long time, of where she hasn't really had to confront a lot of a lot of the ethical and moral quandaries that maybe she would have faced in the past. She kind of lived with kind of shades over her eyes about maybe Peter and about the world at large. Because I would assume that Alicia's been a housewife for a while. She hasn't had to delve into these waters in a minute. So yeah, she's maybe trying to get her sea legs back under her, and this is a good kind of a jolt of reality to be like, oh, like everything's not like roses and all that over here on the Stern Lockhart side. We can be a little devious ourselves. Almost. Oh snap! Snap! Boom! Mind blown. They're speaking to us through the credits, y'all. When I first saw this guy's played by Joe Morton. When you see Joe Morton in a show or a movie, you know he is not to be trusted. So first of all, whenever I see him, I'm like, can't trust him. Can't trust him. For those that don't know, Joe Morton, kind of famous like bad guy, like non-ethical guy. Scandal. He plays Olivia Pope's dad. He was an asshole in Scandal. Okay, the biggest one in that show. He was villainy like personified. Terminator 2. This man is basically the father of the Terminator. He made the technology that fuels the Terminator, that fuels Skynet, which will, I am convinced. I mean, listen, we got so much AI stuff now. We're on the way to Terminator times. Okay, we're on the way to Skynet. All right, Apple is Skynet. I should probably like cover my phone when I'm saying that. Apple is Skynet, y'all. Like keep an eye on your phones. But yeah, Joe Morton is the guy that plays basically the father of the technology that made Terminator. Justice League. He basically makes his son into a cyborg. Okay, because he was so neglectful of his son, he ended up like getting his son into some type of lab accident that he had to make him into a cyborg. Bad guy. So whenever I see this guy, I'm like, steer clear. All my characters, steer clear. So as soon as I saw him, I was like, nope, nope, can't trust him. Can't trust him. Mm-mm. Can't trust him. Can't trust him. Bruh, Peter, Peter, you're not beating the bribery allegations by trying to get your lawyer to bribe your own wife. Okay, like you're not beating the allegations, my man. Like this isn't the way to go. Like as soon as he starts a bribery, I'm like, up, see. Can't trust him. Can't trust old Joe Morton. He's trying to bribe Alicia to get him to do what he wants. When all he has to do is ask. I think at this point he's just like, this lady's probably not gonna like be wanting to help her philandering husband out. But little does he know, Alicia is still down for the cause. She is the good wife. She is willing to help out to get Peter released. And the scene of the episode for me was when Alicia walks in and sees all this stuff. Jackie is just, you know, cheesing while cutting up this ham. She's like, "Oh yeah, you're she." Jackie for her part thinks that Alicia's law office dropped this off, but she's like, "Hell no!" Just takes everything, just puts it, takes a fork out of Jackie's hand and just stabs the ham, throws it in the trash bag. I'm like, Alicia, go, Alicia. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If I'm Zach and I found out my mom threw out a Nintendo DS and the iPod in 2009. Uh, Mom, like we can't take a little bribery, Bob. Like, come on, girl. Like, I'm trying to get my game on. Although I'm sure Zach, being in Zach's position, already had that stuff. um, I mean, listen, the boy has a the boy had an iMac. The boy had an iMac in his bedroom, as we remember from looking up spectral analysis, spectral something or other. So he probably had an iPod Nintendo already, but I'm saying, like, if I thought my mom was throwing away game systems, like, what the? Come on, like, look, like a little bribery's not bad. Come on, I'm like, this isn't like the government level, mom. This is just like the guys trying to help us out. Like, let me get some of those. Let me get the iPod at least. Let's throw me the iPod at least. You can throw away the food. You can throw away the bananas. I don't want bananas. Ham. I don't care about that. We can order pizza, but like, give me the iPod at least. Come on. So weird. So weird. I Alicia said, "I am not for play. Do not, do not do this. Do not try by me or my family. I've had enough bribery in my life. So this is a very bribery heavy episode. I just realized that. So turn your little tail around. I'm sure. If it was somebody else, you would have hit him with that bag. It's like, but yeah, that was quite a sequence of events. Bruh. Mhm. And Alicia freaked out too. I was like I was like, I said, did Peter have his kids wrapped up in all this? Like, did Peter have the other woman coming over while the kids were home? What? He dragged the kids. No, it wasn't anything as like scandalous as that. Mhm. Like, damn, Daniel. Like, why you asking so much of me? Like, you like, can you find what he was doing on this day? Can you find correspondence? Can you do this? Can you do that? I'm trying to live my life, Daniel. Like, isn't it not enough that I've been cheated on and embarrassed in the national media? Now I have to be your gopher, had to be your assistant to find all this stuff. Like, I've had enough. Yeah, I got time for you, Daniel. Alicia's a better woman than me. Mhm. Yes. Jackie, Jackie, your money's probably tainted too. So I don't want to hear your mouth right now, Jackie. But listen, that was a good idea though. I'm gonna start doing that. Like putting my most valuable valuables like inside of like empty peanut butter jars. I mean, a PS5 probably can't fit in a peanut butter jar, but like that's because that's like my biggest valuable. But like I don't got like diamonds and jewels to hide. Oh Lord. No, no, but why is that, like, universal? Why did my grandparents had a false bottom they had, like, a whole, like, chest of drawers or whatever, they had a false bottom in the very bottom of the chest of drawers, like, you take the bottom drawer out, they had, like, a little compartment, you could just lift it up and you would find listen, they had documents, they had cash in there. I saw them grabbing something out of that one time, I was like, "What the hell? Like, what are y'all doing, grandma and grandpa? Like, what you hiding out from? Oh, you got fake passports in there or something?" Well, it's probably just their real passports. Um, what lineage of family do I come from? Like, will I find out we're some international spies at some point? I don't know, but yeah, that's weirdly universal. Mhm. Ugh. Yeah, Peter, I just don't think you're as innocent as you say that you are. Like, this is some shady stuff. I thought at first Alicia was like looking at the bracelet, trying to see if the diamonds were real, but she was just looking at to see where the story got it from. Of course, some Cartier. Yeah, mhm, right. Yeah, I don't need any documentation or proof you are who this person is because what do I care, bro? I was so this This whole convo, I was so infuriated for Alicia throughout this whole conversation with everything that is being thrown at her in this moment. Oh, oh, to protect me? You were trying to protect me from your philanderous ways, from the stuff that you yourself decided to start. You need to protect me from that. Oh, my knight in shining armor. You just trying to protect me from your philandering ways. Oh, I'm so grateful to have a husband like you, Peter, protecting me from you stuffing some other woman. Give me a break. Bruh, you are not helping your case. You are not like just shut up. Just shut up. Just ask me to testify for you and leave it at that. Like stop comparing yourself to other famous politicians or other sex scandals. Like remember they tried to crucify Clinton for sex too, and then they'll try to do that to me. She's like, "Oh, they're crucifying you, huh? You're being so, persecuted for having sex with another woman. Poor little you." Like that this is the whole that was on like, "Oh, poor little Peter." Is being like is being called out for having sex with another woman, but he's just worried about his legal standing at the moment. He doesn't even really care about how this is affecting Alicia, which is Peter's MO. Mhm. I'm sure I'm sure Peter is thinking about Alicia's like job right now. It's like, oh, it's like as he says, "Are you having fun? Oh, you got a little cute little job." Like, no, man, you don't understand all the stuff that Alicia is doing out there. Okay, she's out there hustling, and you're in here just lounging about in your prison outfit. Oh yeah, and little freaking Jackie, who's being really kind of a butt. Really. Well, Peter, why don't you just save your hero complex type of thing, your victim mentality, save for someone who cares, my guy. Okay, the nerve, the golf, the jail relationships, not the jail relationships. You want to have sex with other people, Peter? You go for it. You go for it while you're in jail, man. Knock yourself out. You have my permission. You have my permission. I think we should quit while we're at. Just as a reminder of all the free and easy ways you can help this podcast out, rate and review where that is applicable. Apple Podcast, Spotify. If you're on YouTube, please give a thumbs up down here somewhere. Leave a comment, and we would love to interact with you guys out there. Leave us an email at thegoodpodfeedback@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And until next time, stay good.